What's up, guys? Sly Spy Gaming here with FLCLAFI, my co-host. I'm Ryan, and this is Nick, and we are Joystick Jabber. We are a podcast that talks about games, game news, sometimes pop culture, sometimes just random other things. Usually we start off the podcast just talking about what we've been up to, so what have you been up to?
Still Tomb Raider. Invasion Season 4 started, so I've been playing that as well. I streamed it yesterday, technically.
Yeah.
Usually do what I normally do, where we go through the first 3 mesas, and then the next time I stream, I finish the last 3 mesas. It's weird, because comparatively to... I don't know if they have less fights in them or not, which they might now that the XP's been changed.
Mm-hmm.
But normally the first 3 mesas stream would be like 6 hours. This time it was around 4.
Okay.
So it took 2 hours less than it normally does. I don't know yet, though.
Peacemaker looked fun.
Peacemaker's really fun. I was like looking at a lot of his like move list breakdown from other people who like really go into detail with frame data, and he can do a lot of stuff that
Crazy shit.
you wouldn't expect, because he has a lot more freedom than like pretty much everybody on the roster.
Wow.
Like he can cancel out into stuff. He has a lot more combo paths than a lot of characters do. He has like he can like shoot himself in the air and like land on them with an overhead, but you can cancel it out into a punch.
Really?
But you can do it up to like 2 times if you amplify it. So you can amplify your jetpack, land on and punch them, but before you touch the ground, amplify into your jetpack and do it again. So you can, which if you hit them when you're falling, it opens them up for a combo once you land.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he reminded me a lot of like RoboCop initially, when like my initial
he's a lot
him, but he seems faster.
He's way faster, and his gun shooting's different. Like RoboCop, someone pointed it out. RoboCop always shoots mid, so you pretty much like have to block it. But Peacemaker shoots high, so it's like 2 different angles that they shoot. And like I said, Peacemaker's he's way faster.
I was laughing so hard at the voice lines.
Yeah.
that like John Cena had in there, especially in the fatality where he's trying to shoot that bug.
The
and
butterfly thing.
that was pretty funny. Yeah, I think from the little bit that I was watching on your stream, like it was really good. John Cena, I think, did a good voice acting job.
No, Megan Fox did a better job.
Yeah, exactly. No,
it
Omni-Man voice actor.
Well, he didn't do a bad job voicing Omni-Man.
I don't mean voice actor. The menu narrator.
Yeah,
was way better.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really. Well, I can talk a bit more about the update when we're in our news segment. But that's just basically what I did yesterday. But for Tomb Raider, I'm on Tomb Raider 2 now. Which
before you go into it, I was gonna ask, ranking wise, how would you rank the DLC for like the characters, like Quan Chi, Omni-Man, Peacemaker?
Well, Peacemaker's probably number 1.
Really?
His combo paths are insane compared to the other 2.
Okay.
You could see that.
Are they easy too?
Yeah, it's not that hard to really play as him. It's hard to really get into his technical stuff, but for most of his normal combos, like his headbutt grab, his command grab, you can cancel that into a special.
Oh, wow.
So he's got a command grab that you can cancel into a special. And if you amplify his pistol special, which you can cancel into, it staggers. So it opens them up for another combo.
Oh, jeez.
So you can get a command grab into a combo, like into an amplified special into a combo.
And that's without even using your
you
cameos.
Yeah, and if you use the cameo, you can stagger them even longer technically. So yeah, he's got a lot of like potential. You could see that they started going that way with Omni-Man. Quan Chi's also fun to use, but in terms of the 3 characters, I'd probably say Peacemaker, Omni-Man, and Quan Chi.
So Peacemaker 1, Omni-Man 2, and then Quan Chi 3. I'm really, really excited for I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. I'm clearly excited for him. I am excited for Homelander.
Takeda,
yeah. That's who I'm really excited for. I loved him in MKX. Like, some of his movesets were insane.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep going the way they're going with because I watch Maximilian Dude a lot because he does a lot of character breakdowns, and the one thing he said that is true with Peacemaker is like he's the type of character that if you think of something, you can probably do it with his move list. Like, that's how open his move list is, which you can't do that with a lot of the game's characters.
I mean, I feel like that's how it should be with like all
that's
the characters.
That's how it should be, yeah. So like that's what a lot of people are praising Peacemaker for, is because he's one of those characters that have that kind of creativity level where you can just mess around and do different paths to open up combos, and it usually like works out to some extent.
Sorry, what I meant is that's what they should do with every single character that you have to pay for.
Yeah, well, they have made updates to like base roster characters in the past. Like Katana didn't have as many combo moves as she does now in MK11 and stuff like that. So they can easily branch out and do that for other characters. It's just gonna be like what moves to give them and stuff like that.
I just want them to bring back Season 1 Baraka.
Well, Baraka, I mean, they nerfed him a little bit, but yeah.
I remember when me and you were playing, and Baraka was insane.
Yeah, he's nuts. Well, especially because it was like the launch week.
Yeah.
But yeah, your two characters, Raiden and Baraka, were like the two characters that were nerfed first.
Well, Raiden was always going to be my main. Well,
yeah.
He was always going to be my main unless he sucked, then he wasn't going to be. Like MK11 Raiden was ass.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to veer us off course. I just wanted to hear what your ranking was for the DLC up to this point. But yeah, not Tomb Raider 2. I know you're doing like I don't know if it's going to turn into a series run, but I know you're doing like
it's leaning towards probably, yeah.
The remasters. Yeah, because I mean, for me, like I know there's been a lot of games coming out, but I don't know if that's the same. Like, you're not really interested in a lot of games like Final Fantasy, probably not Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, I haven't played the first one, so I'm probably going to skip the second one for now.
If anything, I could see you getting into Rise of Ronin.
Maybe. That's like a game that I'm waiting on still.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens with it. Because, I don't know. Like, some of it looks good. Some of it looks Souls-like.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly where I stand on it just yet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm on Tomb Raider 2 now. And, the adjustments they made since 1, because I've never played 2 before, they're nice. Like the parkour definitely I guess platforming, but like Eric said, gets much more difficult. It does. Like the Great Wall of China, they just at one point you get down this slide, they throw everything at you. They have spike walls closing in, traps everywhere, and you have to just run through it, which is like end game stuff in the first Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And then instead of just fighting animals primarily most of the time, now they have human enemies that run around with guns and stuff like that.
Oh, jeez.
But they're easy to manipulate because they take forever to turn around. So if you just go behind them, they're screwed. They don't know what to do.
Oh.
So you can just run around them basically. But it's a nice change of pace having the human enemies because it feels better to play it. And then they have better cutscene presentation and stuff like that. So it's been really fun so far.
Nice.
I'm still doing the same thing I did with the first one where it's like pistols only. That's one of the achievements. So.
I'm guessing it's harder. Is it? I mean, you haven't tried it the other way, but
no. But I mean, I'm
assuming it'd be more fun being able to use all the
I didn't have to use pistols only on the bonus levels for the first game, so I was using the other guns. And yeah, I mean the Uzis are insane. The shotgun's pretty good. It takes a bit to shoot, and you need to be like standing still for a couple of seconds, or like at least 1 second before she shoots. The magnums are really nice though. But yeah, I mean there was a boss fight in the first game. Taking that thing down with pistols took a long time. Yeah. I was thinking about cutting the boss fight down, but I just kept the whole thing in there uncut.
Oh,
and you could still run around it and shoot it and be mostly safe, but yeah, it took a while to kill it with pistols. So I'm assuming there's going to be a moment in the second game where pistols are going to take a bit.
Yeah.
There is one section though that I heard where you have to use a shotgun, but it doesn't void the achievement. But I'll have to see. Because other people said they still didn't get the achievement.
I mean, would you want to risk that?
Well, you don't have any other choice.
Oh.
Like, you can't do anything else. Unless you type in, people said that like you might be able to type in the weapon sheet to use the pistols. But
cheat.
Well, the thing is, some cheats avoid achievements, others don't. Because there's an achievement for using the level select cheat, and then there's another achievement for like using this cheat that blows you up and kills you at a certain point in the game.
Oh, geez.
So there's some achievements that are tied to using cheats, but then there's other things that state that cheats break the achievements. So
interesting.
I don't know. But like I said, there's people on like True Achievements who unlocked it on console saying that that part doesn't void the achievement, and it says they've unlocked it. But then a lot of the things I'm hearing,
I don't know if a lot of people know that you're an achievement hunter. Like you're like,
yeah, I mean,
like,
I've
that's your big
it.
like that's one of your big things, is that every game, most games that you play, you try to 100%.
I mean,
if
I've
you
stated it a few
can.
times.
Yeah.
But, well, the one thing I said that I was probably gonna do once,
but for people on just the podcast, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I said I was gonna do after our initial run, which might now be after like the initial series run, I haven't decided yet. But I was going to just do live streams for the first 3 games where I just take out the rest of the achievements, because it would require multiple playthroughs. Because I have to beat the first one in under 5 hours. I have to do a run where I kill every enemy possible. So there's going to be a lot of achievements to hunt down.
Yeah, the one, like, also being a streamer, which for those of you watching that don't know that, like, both of us stream. I stream pretty consistently. You kind of stream off and on. But that's what I've kind of found with streaming, is that the things that are boring or that like are tedious make, when you're streaming them, just like sitting there and just hanging out with like the community and stuff, it's like just so much, it makes the experience so much more enjoyable than if you're just sitting there alone.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reason
yourself.
why I stream that kind of stuff is because like that's what I would just be doing in my own time.
Anyway, yeah.
So I just stream because it's like I'm just playing the game, and then if people come in, we just talk and hang out. That's basically why I stream those moments, and they're kind of like an extension to my initial playthrough.
Yeah, I started doing that with some like editing and stuff, like, because I'm editing like almost all the time
for all the Kick people that want you to join their Discord. And...
yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah, so I also started multi-streaming. So I was streaming on YouTube, started multi-streaming to Kick, and I know that there are people on Kick like that have communities, but for some reason, anybody that ever comes into my streams, and I have like pretty consistent regular people on my YouTube streams, and you know, new people come in, but on Kick it seems like the only new people that ever come in are just bots. They're like, hey, I see you're new at streaming and content creating. It's like, oh, fuck, I am.
It's always the same.
Yeah,
like,
it's the same copy paste like BS, and it's just like, okay. And then you get a follow, it's like, oh, thanks for the follow. It doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, a lot of the streams where I do editing and stuff, I'll usually go on Kick because I can do like I can play some music and it's just chilling. But yeah, it's always more enjoyable that way to me. But yeah, I guess I can go into what I've been up to, and that's pretty much just Final Fantasy.
We don't care.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. No, I mean, since our last podcast, Final Fantasy didn't come out until this last Thursday. But since then, since it came out, midnight release, been playing it. I'm loving it. Other than that, some Helldivers. Been diving into some Helldivers as well before that. But yeah, since the drop, just Final Fantasy. It's great, man. It's like nostalgia is a crazy drug. Like so number one, the soundtrack. I guess I'll just go into it. The soundtrack on Rebirth is amazing. Like, they bring in a lot of music from the original, but then they also mix in a lot of new music that's really, really good as well. Like the combat, the combat is pretty much the same that it is from Remake, but they've added some things. There's like these synergy abilities that you can use based on your team chemistry almost. So like parties that you bring into battle and stuff, you can like gain chemistry with them, and then you can use these synergy abilities that
They took that from Suicide Squad.
did they
Villain synergy.
I'm sure I'm sure Suicide Squad did it way better.
I mean, it actually does have some decent passive buffs.
Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, these are like, so the one cool thing about Final Fantasy VII is I was always very like Remake made it very cinematic, as to where in the original you didn't really have a lot of that. But this, like, the Rebirth takes it to a whole new level, to where it adds like the cinematics into the actual battle. So you do these synergy abilities, and it's like these crazy moves that the two characters pull off, where it's like a cinematic scene almost, and they're like throwing each other off of each other and stuff. It's just it's very anime, and like it's awesome. So they've one upped the whole like battle system, which is crazy. The best comparison that I can make, because I know that I don't know if you'll ever play Final Fantasy VII. I would highly recommend it. I think that you would enjoy it, but the best comparison that I can make for Remake to Rebirth is like Witcher 2 to Witcher 3.
What about Witcher 1 to Witcher 2?
No. No, I mean, that for the most part is like very similar. Kind of similar. I mean, graphics wise, the big improvements, but like,
well, the combat system in one is
the combat is way different. But like Witcher 2 to Witcher 3, in terms of just how they expand on everything, like the world is expanded on. It's all open world. Like it's pretty much all open world now, and there is actually a lot to do in the open world. It's not like we always make fun of like Ubisoft, like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like that. There's a lot of things to do.
You can break open iron ore in Valhalla.
Iron ore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kick some rocks.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just, there's so much to do. There's like a new card game, mini game thing that they've added, where it's like, that's very much Gwent. Like, the way that it's done is Gwent. Like, you go around, you challenge these people, you get cards for beating them. Like, that's very Gwent. But the game itself isn't like Gwent, really. There's like, I know for sure over 100 cards, 100 different cards. So like, the way that you can set up your decks and stuff is crazy. It's just, I don't know how long they've been working on this, but like, I don't know if they started working on this before Remake came out, but it's just nuts. Like, it's
maybe in part 3
crazy.
Some of those cards will be NFTs.
Maybe. Yeah, I know. We had talked about that before. It's like, what if they just totally screwed over the user base?
They could.
And part 3 is just like, complete live service NFT. There's like an energy system.
It's episodic.
Yeah, there's like I know that you don't play a lot of mobile games, but like energy systems where you can only play like a certain amount of like missions in a day or something.
Yeah.
Unless you pay more for like energy boost. They just completely make it terrible.
Well, I mean,
and the game runs great. Like, it runs fantastic. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when Remake came out on PlayStation, it was in the same boat where it was like fine, and then the PC version came out, like stutter issues and problems.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to make it for like one specific console. It's just easier to optimize, but yeah.
In addition to, for playing, you get bonuses as a player for playing the Remake. I believe for playing Intergrade, you also get some bonuses, and then if you played the demo, which I didn't, you also get bonuses. And you're able to just skip the entire first chapter, because I believe the demo just goes through the whole first chapter. And the first chapter is more so a flashback, so it really doesn't have any bearing on what ends up happening in like the next chapter, which is when you really get into the game. Story wise is nuts. I'm really excited to like jump into the story more and see. been having a blast exploring, pretty much. Like I said, the game for me, technically, it came out like yesterday because we always do the podcast on Fridays. So it technically came out yesterday, really like Wednesday night, technically. So 2 days ago, I already almost have 20 hours into the game. Like it's fantastic. And I know that we had said that we had made this thing before where remakes don't really count for game of the year.
Yeah.
But technically, this is more so a sequel. If you really count,
well,
not the same story.
Sequel. It's a remake sequel of a remake.
Yeah, it's well, so remake. I don't want to spoil too much, but remake is technically a sequel
Of the original game.
Yeah, it's like ends up being a multiversal thing.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know how much you can really count it as like a remake. Like that'd be like saying, Tomb Raider was a remake. You wouldn't be able to count that for like game of the year. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, 2013's reboot.
Yeah.
It's its own thing. 1 through 3 remaster. It's not. It's literally the original games with the new coat of paint.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, different story and everything. It's hard. This like falls into like a remake, sort of. Like the story is.
No, dude, it's a rebirth.
It is. It was birthed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I've ever gone on a tangent on the podcast on a singular game that much, unless it was like an angry rant.
Yeah.
But
and then next week, I don't know.
I'm just really getting tired. I mean,
there just wasn't enough stakes.
It could. Yeah.
Not enough people.
We'll see. We'll see, man. The stakes are very high in the game from what it seems like, and Zach is back.
Dude, it's a multiverse.
I think. I don't know what is going on, and especially after the prologue goes through, you play as Zach from Crisis Core, and like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was just like, it's crazy, man. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know if he's in technically the same universe right now. He's alive, but he's
maybe
not
there'll be
alive.
like a scene where there's like 5 clouds fighting 10 Sephiroths.
It could be.
And then like one cloud will die, and it'll be like, oh no, oh wait, that's not my cloud.
Yeah, like I don't know if he went through like a time jump or something. Like, I'm very confused on that aspect, but I'm sure that eventually that will get sorted out as I play through the story. Like I said, I haven't really played through
maybe
too much.
Maybe that's for part 3.
Maybe
there's like 10 parts planned.
That would be nuts. Final
Fantasy VII re-inseminated.
Re-inseminated.
And then they'll do a rebirth after that.
Yeah. Regurgitated.
Yeah. Okay, this is getting a little ridiculous.
Reanimated.
Now.
What other re's? Final Fantasy VII Rewind. But yeah, I mean, there's that. I've been loving it. I want to play it right now. I want to be playing it right now.
Like I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, see you guys. No, other than that, yeah, like I said, Helldivers 2, great again. I know people had been saying that they were having some issues with like live service, or not live service, but like the servers and stuff. I still to this point have not run into that.
They
I don't know
apparently
if that's
have fixed that
now.
now.
It's fixed. Okay, that's I'd figured. I was playing like off and on. I was waiting really for other people that I knew to get it, because like the game by yourself, it's fun, but like it's like, okay, I don't know. Like I'd rather be doing something else with other people. The game is awesome. Like it is a great co-op group experience. one thing that I've heard, so the one thing that I've found is like with multiplayer games, if the developers don't make it bad, the community sure as hell will try to make it shitty for everyone.
Usually how it goes.
And like the developers on Helldivers 2 have been awesome. There was a story that came out though that I believe is from IGN that originally like posted it. But they were saying that apparently players have been getting kicked in Helldivers 2 because they're not bringing meta builds into it. It's like, dude, come on. I mean, I understand that, but like if you're going to be that like shitty about it, then just play by yourself or find like a dedicated group. I'm sure that there's actual groups. I'm sure that there's a Discord you can find people to actually play with together that have meta builds.
Though. I mean, you
like make your party private or something. I don't know.
There's not even builds in like GTA Online, but you would matchmake for a heist, and everybody would you'd either get kicked or the heist would start and everybody would leave.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Like that's just
I don't
that's
understand
just
that. I never understood that.
I know because that's just the mentality of people that are, I'm gonna play this game today, but I'm just gonna keep quitting.
You're not level 9,999.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, I found a match. Time to leave.
It's like I think that I'm gonna look for a heist. That you get connected. I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah. I'll just search for another one.
Yeah. That was actually one of the questions I was gonna ask you about the achievements. I know that's an achievement that you never got, or I don't think that you probably will ever get it.
Oh,
is like what is it, like mastermind or something like that?
Well, yeah, there's one for like completing the mastery challenges for the Doomsday Heist, which like requires you playing it on the hardest difficulty without any deaths.
Yeah.
And like you have to do
like
it
during the entire sequence of missions.
Throughout all of it. So
and
like,
if you die, like it literally starts the heist. Yeah.
You'd have to start back from part one. Like you'd have to do all the setups again and everything.
Yeah. Well, then there's the one for all like doing all the heists without dying, like in like a playthrough.
Well, the achievements were just for the Doomsday Heist. The other one was just the other heist achievements were just for like doing the heist. But like I said, I have my limits with certain achievements. Like if my ability to do it hinges on a group of people, I tend to not be as motivated because it's like, well, it's not even up to me anymore.
Yeah, it's like impossible to find. That's the one thing is that like me and you are very much like single player experienced people, but when we find a good co-op game, like we enjoy it, like that. we like it. We try to like get each other into it, which me and you had played GTA Online all the time. The thing is that we don't really have a group of people, like online people that we play with a ton, you know.
Yeah, usually if it's like 4-player requirements, I tend to just not touch. Because Ghost of Tsushima did the same thing. We played that online mode for a bit, and then they started adding those 4-player required like gauntlet modes or whatever. And then I just stopped because it's like a 4 people requirement.
Yeah, and well, so we do have like, we could probably scrounge together 4 people to play like almost any game that we want to out of our community and like our friends and stuff.
The problem I have with it is like I'm able to do it. Like I was able to do the 4-player mode for Ghost of Tsushima as well, even though it's super difficult by yourself. But then you hit a wall. You have a point where you need like people to step on certain pressure pads at the exact same time. It's like great. Like I sat here fighting way more enemies than a single person should fight. I won. But now I can't open this door.
Like do it at that
No,
point.
you shouldn't even be able to launch it. I know. But like the problem I have with 4-player requirements is like you can't just play it.
Yeah.
You have to wait until there are 4 people ready, or you have to matchmake with randoms, which is never a good experience.
Yeah, no. That's what I was getting at. Was that I was like, we could find 4 people that we know, or like in our community, or like our friends or whatever. But I mean, most of my friends aren't really that great at at gaming. I mean, some are pretty good.
Same.
But I know. I'm the only person that can like somewhat keep up. But like anyone else really, depending on what we're playing, usually is not, which is fine. Like But in terms of like doing things like that, where it's like a challenging thing,
I wouldn't even attempt it.
Yeah,
I don't feel like doing
I don't want to
it,
name like any names or nothing. Like we'll keep it anonymous, but I think we both have ideas on who we're talking about here.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the hassle.
Yeah, and the time
Yeah, because like they make it to where if you get to the end, I mean, when we played the Doomsday Heist normally, you'd peek out for like half a fraction of a second and immediately die.
Yeah,
it's like okay, great.
There, every single bodyguard you go against.
Because like when you get to the heist, the difficulty is tweaked in such a way where if the AI gets a headshot on you, which is random, it is an instant kill, and it doesn't even matter if you have body armor. So it's like okay, great. So my fate is literally up to a team of 4, and random chance that I might die in one singular hit in a frame.
These random street meth dealers also have 25 years of combat experience.
It pretty much is what it's like.
It's like John Wick style.
Or you'll be flying in on a helicopter and you'll be miles out and you'll be getting hit through the window of the helicopter from the people on like a boat nowhere near you. It's like, come on, man.
That's why that armored Kuruma car.
Yeah.
That thing was nuts.
But you can't take that thing with you all the time.
Yeah.
We
kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there again, but yeah. I mean, that's also what I think that Helldivers 2 does very well. With Helldivers 2, you can actually play it by yourself. And I feel like it does scale to how many people you have. Like when it was me and our buddy Pick were playing, we actually live streamed it. And it was both of us. We were on, I think it was like hard. We might have been on extreme or something like that, but it was just pure chaos. We went into fight Terminids, which are like the bug enemies, and it's just we drop in nests everywhere. The whole planet just covered in nests apparently. So we we couldn't even do one of our objectives. It was ridiculous. But like going in by yourself, I feel like it scales the amount of enemies down, and like I think the difficulty of the enemies down to where it is doable. It's still very hard because like it's just you. They also remove the amount of lives that you have. Like you don't have as many lives as you would with like 2, 3, or 4 people. So it is possible to do by yourself, which I like. Like I like that you can actually go in there and attempt to do these things by yourself, be like a one-man army type of thing. But yeah, I mean that's one thing is like nowadays with how multiplayer games are, live service games are, the way that Helldivers has done everything is just so player friendly. Like it just seems like they have the player in mind. Even the battle passes. So I had thought that both they have like battle passes. I had thought that both battle passes were free, but apparently with the addition of the game that I got, which is like the premium edition or whatever, is like an extra $10 or something. I got the second battle pass. The thing is that the second battle pass, normally you'd like with other live service games, you'd have to spend real money to be able to like open that up. Nope. In this, you can just like, you can use the super credits, which you can get with real money if you want to. If you want to speed things along, you can do that. But you can also get super credits just by going through that first battle pass. You can get free super credits through there. You can get it from just playing the game, like finding like the little side objectives around. It's awesome. The medals that you get to unlock the stuff you can get through playing the game, like it's insane. Like that's honestly how I think that more companies should do that. Also, the battle passes, they're not timed.
Yeah,
battle passes are once you have them, they're forever.
Yeah, I noticed more companies started doing that.
That's how it should. How it should be.
Rocksteady announced that that's how they're doing their battle passes too. Like they don't expire; they're just there.
Like the messed up thing is, you could literally, so like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, for example, a shining example of how shitty the system is. you could buy technically the battle pass that they have, where it's like the locations or like the territories or whatever, the day before the season ends. I think it's like $20 for it. You can't like. I don't think there's any other way to get the currency to get that unless you have the battle pass first to get the currency, which is when I had gotten the battle pass. I was like, okay, I'm just going to get all of like the COD point territories so that I can get the next battle pass. Like that was the thing I always tried to go for first. But you get it the day before, spend $20. It ends and you're screwed. Like it's so stupid. Like it shouldn't even be like that. But instead of buying the battle pass, you're technically buying the COD points. So that's their workaround for it.
It's the Activision.
Yeah. But Helldivers. Any companies trying to do live service multiplayer games, take your cues from that company. That's how you make a game for the players. You know what I mean?
Next update, we're just going to have it to where if you want to do a drop, you have to pay per drop.
Yeah, exactly. Every time that you drop it,
And every time you need to like redeploy after you die, you have to pay for it.
I couldn't see that happening.
Like, we got him. Had a month of good faith. Reeled in. Now we can take full advantage.
And it's a PlayStation exclusive released on PC that actually runs well on PC. Yeah. Crazy, dude.
Last of Us ran great on PC when it came out.
Spider-Man.
It required like 13 gigabytes of VRAM.
Yeah, you gotta have a NASA computer to run the thing.
Well, you would need like a 3090 or a 4090.
Jesus.
I mean, I don't even know if they still fully figured out all of it. It works better now, but
like all the
problems with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing, is that I was waiting. I think I've said this on the podcast before. The Last of Us Part 1 was like is probably one of my favorite games of all time. That story is fantastic. Last of Us Part 2, there was so much controversy going into the game. And I was like, hopefully this doesn't suck. But I ended up getting it. I played it for a little bit, and then I don't remember what exactly happened. Like, I think that I don't know if it was like something where I was also playing something else at the time, which I'm pretty sure I was. It was like Ghost of Tsushima, which I wanted to beat. And then I ended up not picking it back up. And then it had just been so long that I was like, I'm just going to wait, because all the PlayStation games seem to be coming to PC. Yeah. I'm just going to wait for it to come to PC, and then I'll play it on PC, where hopefully it's better. I don't know if that's ever going to happen or not.
Yeah, usually when they come out with like the complete editions or like the re-releases, they announce a PC release date. But for the remastered version of 2, they didn't say anything about PC.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with that.
Now watch, eventually I'm just going to be like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to, I'm going to play it on PlayStation, and then like the next day they'll be like, coming to PC tomorrow. It's like, oh, dang it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Or I'll be like 75% of the way through it, and then that's when they'll announce that it's coming.
Well, I mean, this isn't really the same thing, but when I played through Red Dead Redemption, because I played it on Xenia to get it to run in 60 FPS.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Right when I beat it, they came out the 60 FPS patch on the PS5 version, which Xenia is really heavy on resources, so I had to play it in 1440p, because if I played it in 4K, I would not get 60, because it's so demanding to run emulators like that. But PS5's version's 4K 60.
Yeah,
I ended up playing through it in the background, just myself.
Oh, you played
around the same time. So I beat Red Dead Redemption, and then I beat Red Dead Redemption after that.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have done that.
I mean, I really liked that game, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And it was nice seeing it in full 4K.
Yeah.
When I got around to it, though, my playthrough of Undead Nightmare was the PS5 version.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is another game that I need to pick up too. I know Red Dead Redemption 2 is like, I don't know how I have not beaten it. I got so heavy into the like exploration and like I just wanted to try to get all the skins and like stuff, like all the pelts and stuff, so that I could like not have to worry about having to do the hunting BS. And it was like, it burnt me out.
Yeah, you don't actually technically have to do any of it.
Like, it would have been better if I did not have the guide for the game. I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
I mean, for the guide, for me, I just used the maps. I didn't really follow the story stuff, but it's like, the story's pretty straightforward. But you don't have to technically do any of the hunting stuff. The camp stuff isn't permanent after a certain point. The only thing that's helpful to get early is the satchels, because if you can get the Legend of the East satchel right away, you basically have like as much inventory space as you need. But if you don't craft the satchels, you can purchase all of them at the fence once you get into the epilogue section of the game. You don't have to craft them, you just buy them. But so none of it's technically missable. It's just basically if you want it or not.
Yeah,
it's nice to have early on, obviously, but
yeah, and that's the thing is like, is like I had spent so much time in it, and then the PC version came out, and we're like, well, we're gonna get it on PC, obviously. Of course, no transfer for whatever reason, because Rockstar was weird about that, so we had to pretty much start from scratch with our characters online, which didn't even end up being that big of a deal, because nothing was ever added to the online anyway in that game. But then I kind of started trying to get into the story mode again. I got through the big, like, annoying part, which is the beginning snow part.
Yeah.
So when I do start, then, like, when I do make my push to finally play through Red Dead Redemption 2 again, which is going to be like 100-hour plus journey.
I mean, it depends what you do, I guess.
I will not have to go through that annoying snow part for like.
What if you need to refresh your memory?
I think I know what happens.
What happens?
John gets raped by a bear.
No.
Wolves.
Yes.
He gets raped by multiple wolves, and they get out of it.
That's technically all that you really need to know. They do try to rob a train too, as well.
That's right. They do.
And the train's owned by Leviticus Corn.
Yeah. Yep. They take what is it? It's like a deed. Bonds. Yeah.
That's like the
some
important
papers.
Parts.
Yeah, some papers for something.
That's pretty much all you need to know.
Don't they try to blow up the track, but it doesn't work or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Bill's the explosive expert, so Bill. It doesn't go well.
Bill. Yep. See, I think I've played through it like at least 3 times.
I mean, I actually don't mind the intro. I just like the way that it just sets up the character and story. So I can replay it fine, but yeah, it's definitely a very slow section. Because like for me too, I'm like always the odd one out with this too. But I don't mind replaying the intro for like Skyrim or anything like that either. Like the Helgen Assault and stuff like that. I'm okay with going through that again.
Yeah, that's one thing with the Skyrim is like in the mods.
There's always skips.
Yeah, well, no, they added like a
new beginning,
fresh start type thing where it's like it just like starts you in some random area, which I always thought was really, really cool. There's so many mods for that. So let's talk about how terrible Starfield is. No, I think that again we kind of went off on a little bit.
This is just like gaming talk.
Yeah,
now.
We're just talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much. We went off course, but yeah, that's my update for what I've been doing since our last chat. So, I
mean, I can start off
with the news, right?
Well, yeah, but I can just start off with the Mortal Kombat patch really quick.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that, which I used to cover this stuff since my tastes have been soured on that game.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a method for you that I haven't seen anyone report on yet.
We might have to talk about that.
I'm not going to mention it here, but
which no one's reported, but you get exclusive.
Well, I'm reluctant to even have you make a video on it because NetherRealm's been looking at these XP methods under a microscope, and anything that's been mentioned will be gone the next season.
It's hilarious because I cover tons of different games, but there's people who specifically cover Mortal Kombat stuff, and like some of my initially in the Invasion seasons, I was covering how to get like coins, XP, and stuff, and I don't know if it's still the case, but those videos ended up doing better than some of the people who exclusively like covered Mortal Kombat, which I thought was funny. So yeah, most likely if I did make a video on that, NetherRealm would see that.
You're welcome.
But they don't want to get they don't want to give me a free copy of the game. Come on.
No, I mean, NetherRealm would hate you for covering that.
Yeah,
they'd be like, wait, people are able to gain XP slightly faster. How dare they?
They don't want to give me. Let me tell you about this, guys. Let me tell you how great NetherRealm Mortal Kombat is. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this skin. Only $25 for this.
No. Surprisingly, part of this new update, they did add some like classic MK3 skins and palettes. They added Sub-Zeros and Smokes.
Yeah. Oh, I think I did see that. Was it like his
like just the vest with no shirt, no mask, and just like the scar?
Oh, okay.
That MK3 suit.
Nope. I ended up seeing something else for Smoke. It was like it must have been
they have it. No, I thought you said Sub-Zero. They added Smoke's MK3 suit, where it's like the pads.
Oh, they did add that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have like a
that's interesting. That's
it's kind of
cool.
like a concept art version of it, where they have like the points more pronounced. In the game, they were there, but it was harder to notice. But in the concept arts, you could see them, and then in MK4, the hoods were really pronounced like that too. So it's kind of like a hybrid almost.
Okay.
But surprisingly, they're not $12.
Wow.
The Sub-Zero one's $6, and the Smoke one's $5.
So I know that
it's now 2 for the price of 1.
You had some thoughts on why they did that.
Well, yeah, my theory is because of Tekken's shop prices.
Yeah.
Because Tekken's shop prices, it's just $4 for any character outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So they were probably like, well, shit. That's way less than half of our price. That's less than half of our price. So we got to do something. So
I still think that they should be in packs.
No, yeah, they should be. Because, I mean, they had the classic Ninja skin pack for MK11 where you would get Noob, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion for like $6. You'd get all 3 of those with the colors and then 3 pieces. So 9 pieces of gear in total for $6.
Yeah.
So now it's $6 for just 1. It's better. I'm still sitting on Dragon Crystals that I've had, so I didn't have to spend any money for it yet. But yeah, I mean, the prices, that's the prices that if they wanted to do a shop, and like, because microtransactions are just here now. Mm-hmm. So if that's like $6 should be like the maximum amount for any skin ever.
Yeah.
Anything, if it's even like announcer voices should never be $10 either. Announcer voices should be like at the most, and this is just being like with the idea that there is going to be a price. Max for an announcer voice should be like $4. Max. Minimum like $2.
Yeah.
An announcer voice shouldn't be worth like anything.
No, it shouldn't. Honestly, this should all just be earnable in the game.
Well, yeah,
that's my stance on everything.
I mean,
these developers are gonna hate the Helldiver devs. They're like,
well, if there was like
you guys, we can't bend over our player base.
If there was more ways to earn Dragon Crystals rather than the character mastery or your player profile, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the fact that once you hit 31 with everybody, you can't get any more crystals from character mastery. And then if your profile level's at 100 already, you're done with that too. You run out of all opportunities to earn Dragon Crystals at that point.
Well, that's my thing. So we had talked about this many times, and that's my take on it. To where I think that that's the reason that they have now nerfed like every possible way to earn XP quickly and easily, which is why I've gotten like soured on the game, is because of the fact that it like, to me, that's the only reason that they would do that. And there's like, it doesn't make any sense that a company would prevent players. It's like, what is that hurting besides the pockets of the people? Because of the fact, like, yes, the Dragon Crystal thing is limited, but throughout all of that, how much can you reasonably get?
Well, it would be 200 per character.
And they're like, what is it? Well, besides DLC characters.
Yeah, because they don't even give crystals anyways. I think there's 23 in the base roster, so it'd be 200 times 23.
I can't math right now.
I'm not even thinking about it.
What is like 4,600?
Maybe.
So $46 worth of dragon crystals.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not a ton, but it's.
Well, I mean, if each skin's $12 like it used to be, that's not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like that's not a ton, but the thing is that, like, I think that they're severely trying to slow down people.
I think the problem,
trying to slow people from being able to get that much.
But I think the problem they have for themselves is no one's actually really buying dragon crystals, and the only people who are sticking around are the people who would grind it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your average player is not going to grind everybody to mastery 31.
Yeah.
That, like, especially because most fighting game players, the community that's left behind are people who are just like exclusively playing online. At most, they're probably playing 2 characters on the roster the whole time, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to get every character to 31.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I don't think, and those players are most likely not even buying dragon crystals to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's like I think they're in a position now where that might be another reason why the skins are $6 or $5 now, is because nobody's buying the $10 to $12 stuff. So they're like, well, we're not making any money on the shop.
Yeah.
So it's like if they can't earn dragon crystals and we reduce the price, maybe it'll be more appealing.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, your take on it was good too, though. Like, you brought in the fact that, like, you kind of brought in the flip side of it, to where maybe they're just trying to retain players.
Well, yeah, I
think
think they're just trying to keep you playing. Because now they're pushing you towards the gateway towers. Here's what I'll say with the XP. It's not fully nerfed.
Mm-hmm.
They did get rid of farming, technically. Like, you can't just farm one specific fight over and over again now. It doesn't work. I've seen people like lenient on it where they're like, oh, you can, you don't get as much. It's like, yeah, you go from like 500 to 1,000 down to like 30. So it's like, if you want to do that, that's up to you. Probably will take 72 plus hours to get a character from like 30 to 31. But yeah, so you can't farm anymore, but here's how the way they did it. Your first initial run through a mesa will give you a lot of XP. And that's per mesa. So you will level characters up really fast when you're going through the mesa for the first time, each mesa. So basically, the way you would want to maximize your XP is once you've mastered a character, even if it's your main and you don't want to play as anybody else, you're still better off switching to a different character just to level them up.
Yeah.
So they're kind of more so forcing you to switch characters more consistently than now, which in a fighting game isn't always the best thing to do because a lot of people don't vary themselves between that many characters. So, like, for me, my plan for this season was to just play as Peacemaker throughout the whole thing. But now for the second half of my stream, I'll probably just be switching between characters because I have Kenshi at 32 right now. So if I just keep playing as him through this next mesa, I'll probably get him to 35. And then I'll have to switch to somebody else. Because otherwise, all that XP, all that first-time XP bonus that I'll be getting will be completely wasted. And I won't be able to get it again because... It would have made more sense if they did first time completion bonuses per character. So that way, if you go back to the original mesas and you run them again as a new character, you could maximize their XP. But it's not like that; it's one and done. So your first initial run through the mesas will be very beneficial in terms of XP. But once you're done with the season and you have to do the gateway towers, that's when things start to slow down a little bit with this new XP system. So.
Because, I mean, yeah, like, to be fair, no one was really, I mean, I wasn't doing the gateway towers really until
the gateway towers were like
they kind of forced
pointless.
You to, as that was the only way you could level your characters up in, what was it, season 2?
Well, season 2, if you would just scale the seasonal tower.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, you would get like a ton of XP, yeah. But this time.
What they should have done instead, but they're not going to do because they want to make it impossible for people to get customization items, which is what mostly pisses me off about this game. What they should have done is made it to where going through like the towers and stuff gave you customization items for your characters.
Well, like MK11.
Like MK11.
That would have been more convenient, yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why they didn't do that is because they were like, well, if people only play online, they wouldn't get any of that stuff.
It's like,
but it's here. My take on that whole thing.
The community wasn't asking for NetherRealm to get rid of that, like that entire thing
I
entirely.
mean, there were
They're just like,
complaints,
can
but
we
yeah.
just have conquest mode? And they're like, yes, but you don't get anything else, and that's it.
My take on the whole, like, oh well, like online players won't be able to, like, because people who exclusively play online usually miss out on all of the Towers of Time stuff from MK11 because they don't touch the Towers of Time. So they'd miss out on pretty much the only cosmetics you could get, because you don't really get cosmetics other than Combat League stuff for online play.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's fair. Like, we miss out on the Combat League stuff.
Yes, but my take on that is like, playing the offline modes is way more accessible to a wider audience than playing the online modes for cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, the people who don't play online miss out on the online stuff, but the people who play online can go offline and play the offline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They have more than, like, but like for most people, it's not as easy to make the transition from playing offline modes to playing online modes for cosmetics as it is from playing online to playing offline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have the skill to make it online, especially to climb the ranks in Combat League, you would tear apart the bots and get the cosmetics easily. But it's not the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, we have already said this, like, we're very much single player experience people. I was always in for Mortal Kombat 1 mainly because they've crafted an unbelievably good story. And that was what I've been in it for since, well, at least since 10. Like, I know the story of 9, so I didn't really play too much of 9, but I really jumped into Mortal Kombat in 10 because of the story and the customization. Like, that's what really had me. So that's why I'm so mixed on the game, is because, again, they've made a great story. Like, the story, if you haven't played the Mortal Kombat story, it's great, and I highly recommend that you go at least to 9 and play through to Mortal Kombat 1, because, like, the crazy, like, multiversal story that they're telling is nuts. I mean, they've essentially retold the original games. So I'm not completely shitting on Mortal Kombat here. The thing that pisses me off, though, is I'm also in Mortal Kombat for the customization. They've had fantastic customization. They had good customization. Like, they had skins and things that you could get in X, and they brought that to a whole new level in 11. And then in 1, they, like, it's like they're afraid to give players customization options. Like, they're drip feeding customization. They like the skins that are already in the game that the characters have, they aren't even available. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and that's what really pisses me off, is like they're drip feeding it. They don't want to put the time in to give customization. The DLC characters that we're technically spending money on, like, are shit compared to the normal base characters in the game in terms of their mastery and stuff. It's like they don't have any other skins. They probably won't ever have any other skins.
Surprisingly, Quan Chi does have some seasonal palettes this time.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, I think 4 at the most.
Interesting.
They're not in the seasonal shop, but you earn them in the invasion mode itself. I got 1 yesterday.
Well, that's
but
good
none
to
of the
know.
other characters do. It's just Quan Chi.
Yeah. Well,
which, to be fair, Quan Chi's probably had some stuff planned for him for a long time, because he's technically a part of the base game.
Yeah.
Same with Ermac.
Well, that's good to know, because that was, like, we were initially worried about that. Then our fear came true, is that they were going to treat Quan Chi like he's IP from some other, like, dimension, even though he's literally Mortal Kombat IP. And, like, I guess I understand it from the aspect of, like, like Omni-Man, Peacemaker. I understand that. Like, it's not Mortal Kombat's.
Yeah,
they're
but
not Mortal.
I mean, I
combatants.
see that discussion happening, but when they did guest characters in 11, they didn't do that. They actually had, like, 4 different outfits.
They had, like,
like
younger Terminators.
Yeah,
like
like
that,
RoboCop had, like, the Lin Kuei outfit. Like, they are able to do that.
Yeah.
They just didn't do it this time. So
yeah, which, really, again, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why. I know that there's been huge layoffs
Yeah.
which we can touch on that, and that could be a reason why we're seeing less content and stuff like that in some games, and they're trying to like make the most profit as possible. But the problem with that is that they're making a game to make profit. They're not making a game to make it fun.
Yeah.
Like that's what it seems like.
Well, to circle back to my whole XP breakdown thing.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
When you get to the gateway mesa grind after you're done with your initial run, because there's no reason to go back now, that's when things start to slow down if you didn't level up your characters during your first run. Basically I haven't been able to play the seasonal challenge tower yet, but from what I gauged from other people, you do get 4,000 XP per seasonal tower, which is 10 fights. Which is okay. That's not bad. But for other towers in the Mesa, when I was testing it myself with those, 3 fights give you 750 XP, and 9 fights give you 1,500. Which, calculating wise, the 9 fight is not worth it for 1,500, especially since the one I played had mini bosses in it. The problem comes in those where once you're in those like the higher 20s to low 30s in terms of their mastery track, that takes a long time, even with the 750. So you'd be better off just doing the 3 fight towers for 750 each time, because once you're done with 9 fights, you'd get more than 1,500. So I don't know who's calculating at NetherRealm, but they're not really thinking it through.
Yeah.
Because the 10 fight tower for 4,000 XP is closer to what you should get based off the 750, but you should still be getting a little bit more than 4,000. But yeah, it slows down a lot in that regard. It's fast when you're going through your initial mesas, which I feel like that's what their illusion of the buff, that's what they want. They want the players to be like, oh wow, the XP is amazing now. But then once they're done with the invasion and then they have to go to the gateway mesa, then that's when you're like, oh wait, this is actually a little bit worse than we've had it, because this is all fixed rates.
Which that's the thing, is it doesn't, like, to me, if it just doesn't make sense, like why they would be limiting that. They're like, we want people, if it was the case of like we want people to play more, okay, like yes, it'll make people play more, but it'll also, like, who likes grinding stuff? Yeah,
basically that's what they essentially did with this new system. It won't feel like a grind until you're done with the mesas. Once you're done with the mesas, then it'll probably feel more grindy than it's ever have in the past.
It's almost like they've gotten rid of any developers that have ever actually played a video game, they've gotten rid of, and they brought in like a team of like accountants to make these updates in Mortal Kombat.
Well, I mean, like, to be honest, if the way they did it could either just push people away. So
I don't mean to shit on accountants. I'm sure there's tons of fun accountants, but you know, like it just doesn't. I don't feel the love from a gaming perspective.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't fully fleshed everything out yet. This is just specifically gateway XP that I'm talking about right now. Like for me, the gateway XP doesn't seem that great. I feel like they need to raise the fixed rates to make it more worth it. The only upside is that they did add boosters and herbs, which are like, the herbs give you permanent stat increases and the boosters give you like elemental resistances permanently. They did add those as drops per fight or at the end of a tower to the gateway mesa, so they're a little bit more worth it for just building like an overpowered character, but it's random drops, so you'd have to just really grind it. But as far as the XP go, aside from the seasonal challenge tower, they definitely need to tweak it to make more sense, because if 3 fights 750, 9 fights should be more than 1,500. Yeah, because that's 6 fights for 1,500.
Maybe it's not accountants that they're bringing in.
No, the way they're calculating the fixed rate XP doesn't really make any sense. Yeah. Seasonal tower, like I mentioned before we started this podcast, if it's 4,000 XP for the first 5 or 10, and then it's 5,000 XP, and it just constantly keeps like adding 1,000 XP after you do so many fights, that's fine. Like I'm okay with that. Doing 10 fight seasonal challenge tower over and over again with scaling levels would start becoming a massive grind though. So it wouldn't technically be better than the previous seasons in terms of XP, but it would still be acceptable in terms of just the seasonal tower for XP. But Gateway Mesa grind needs to be tweaked more. If they're doing fixed rates, that's probably something that's here to stay rather than the previous seasons where it was like based off of level for the most part, except for season 1. Season 1, level 1 would give you the same XP as level 30. Mm-hmm. Season 2 obviously was the best for the players because it would scale wildly in terms of higher level. I know why they...
the initial grind, though, was...
the initial grind was still like season 1. It felt rewarding to scale the seasonal tower.
Yeah,
very rewarding.
Once you actually got...
I know why they scaled that back a bit, because like one fight would be so much XP that you could master a character really quickly. I wish I would have just finished mastering everybody during season 2.
I wish I would have worked more on that too.
Season 3 had one method that was like season 1, where you would farm 1 endurance basically. It technically would average out more XP than a gateway tower would now, faster, but it still wasn't that great. So this season, like I said, what it's probably going to end up being if you don't feel like doing the seasonal challenge tower is every season you would pick a new character to level up, and then you would pick new characters to level up through your initial runs. So basically leveling, like mastering characters,
so the DLC characters.
Basically, but you mastered the fact that the DLC characters only hit 20. You'll level them up within like mostly the first 2 mesas.
Okay.
So you'd only be playing as them for a little bit technically. That's the other thing that's weird about the fixed rate XP is like, hey, play as this new character. But if you want to level up your other characters, don't play as this new character.
Yeah. Also, if they did want players to come back, what they should do is just increase the mastery levels of the characters.
Yeah, I'm assuming they will do that eventually.
Like that...
Yeah.
Maybe.
So basically what's going to end up happening is, depending on how the XP goes, is that if you really want to level up your characters, you would basically have to wait for each new season. So like, oh, I'll pick this season to level up 3, and then I'll have to wait 40 to 80 days to level up the next 3 characters, unless I want to grind the gateway. Not really the best solution to the XP problem, but...
Ed Boon's over there all alone. He's like, guys, I'm trying the best that I can.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then they did add crossplay as well, finally.
We can play with the Switch players.
No, Switch is excluded from crossplay. Though PC has, like, restrictions.
Really?
That I was hearing about. If you're playing on a hard drive, it doesn't let you crossplay Combat League unless you're on an SSD. Well,
why?
Because it wants it to be consistent across console and PC. You can do private matches no matter what, but for Combat League you have to be on like an SSD, and you have to be on a computer that's consistently getting 60 FPS.
Interesting.
Which the frame rate makes sense, because if your game's dipping frames, because the attack speeds are all based off of frame data.
Yeah.
So if someone's at a higher frame rate than you, they'd be hitting you faster than you would be able to perceive it. So that's why a lot of fighting games are capped at 60 FPS. I still see people going back and forth about that. They're like, why can't I play this at 120 FPS?
I gotta force on cap it somehow.
Yeah.
Next on Sly Spy Game.
No, there's no way to do that. All the animations are tied to the frame. I mean, they do. There are some fighting games that are made without, like, the animations are made in a way that regardless of frame rate, they only have certain frame data, but the way NetherRealm's been making Mortal Kombat has never been like that. Oh. So it'll always have the 60 FPS cap.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my breakdown on this new patch. Peacemaker's awesome, though. He's really fun to play as. XP is, like, split in the middle. Initial run through the mesas, it's better than it's ever been. End game grind XP, once you're done with the mesas, could be worse than it's ever been. Could be. I have to fully flesh out the seasonal tower, but so far it seems worse than it's ever been once you're done with your initial run through the mesas.
Yeah, I've been sitting here thinking about it, and maybe we're just spoiled. Like, maybe we just got too spoiled from MK11. Like, could you imagine if we had this?
Dude, that was always my sentiment when we first finished season 1 Invasions. Mm-hmm. I said then and there, I would rather do the character tower mastery on MK11 than do Invasions with character mastery level ups.
Yeah.
Because if I can just pick a character... The other thing is, too, with MK11 is, like, you actually learn the characters going through their challenge towers. Mm-hmm. The only thing that was when MK11 first came out, the challenge towers did have ridiculous numbers to unlock the next towers. They did scale that back, but once you finished challenge 5, you had everything for the character unlocked for the most part. The only thing you didn't get was some of the random Tower of Time stuff, which they also quality of life that to where if you would play on brutal difficulty and then all of the crazy overpowered augments they added, you would just get random reward for character you're playing as. So and that could be how they would have this weekly tower would give you this specific palette or skin for this character. Mm-hmm. If you would play one of those brutal difficulty fights for any reward of the character you pick, it could potentially give you that. So you would eventually, if you just kept playing brutal difficulty on any tower, you'd eventually get all of that stuff too, even without waiting.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing is we got so much quality of life stuff in with Mortal Kombat 11, which we didn't really see that in MKX. There wasn't really anything like that.
Well, MKX was just pre-made skins.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing that with MKX is that there were some that were just locked away for just doing stuff online, like winning 20 ranked matches for Dark Emperor Liu Kang and stuff like that. But
yeah, MK1 seems like the game that would have come out before MK11.
It
in terms of the way that it's set up.
If
now.
MK11 had MK1's combat system, even without cameos, that would have been a very definitive Mortal Kombat experience.
Yeah. We've said we don't really play competitively in Mortal Kombat. I know cameos are very, very much
I don't hate cameos.
Advantage.
I just don't care that much.
I don't personally use them that much when I do play.
They're really useful with certain characters more than others, like Peacemaker.
Yeah, but exactly what you said. MK1's combat is very good, regardless of cameos. I like the speed of it. It's very fun, and honestly, if this was MKX. This would be awesome. You get Peacemaker. He's the best character that they've come out with so far, and maybe I just got to look at it from a more optimistic point of view.
Well, gameplay wise, MK1's doing a lot of things right in terms of just the actual fighting game.
Yeah.
I don't really have any problems with that. I don't care personally too much about the cameos, but when you do use the cameos when you're supposed to and how you're supposed to, they work really well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they even break the game to where they have to actually change them because they literally break the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the grind stuff, which, like I said, majority of their player base who just play online exclusively, they're not going to even really care about any of this XP stuff or anything like that because they're never going to experience it. They're just going to get whatever the online rate is, which I don't think they've even tweaked that.
Which for them, I'm sure it's fantastic experience.
Well, I just don't think they even worry about it.
Except for the cameo, I feel like some people aren't really into the whole cameo system, especially people coming from the older games.
It depends. If you're going to get into the competitive scene, you're going to need to know how to use the cameos.
Yeah. But at least that's how it was initially. But yeah, maybe I just need to take a different perspective on it and just disregard what we had for MK11 because we got so much quality of life stuff for that and every update.
Well, it's not about being spoiled. They literally had the blueprint, the layout, and everything they needed for the quality of life because they could apply a ton of the quality of life features that they had for 11 into 1. They just didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of you had MK11, you had so much more content that was free content.
Yeah. And you can just earn time crystals.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it.
So it almost
you can just keep earning them.
In terms of that, fighting step forward, but in terms of the experience, the other experiences, I don't really know what you would call that.
The player experiences,
the overview of the game, the live service elements. Step backwards, man.
Yeah.
That.
We've had that rant numerous times now.
Quality of death updates.
Well, they just took a lot of the quality of life features and just removed them, and then they just started slowly adding them back.
Yeah.
It's you didn't have to get rid of them in the first place.
Yeah. So there's our Mortal. Well, I always like our podcast because it's for the most part, like, you don't really rant a lot. I rant a lot. And
I mostly just try to look at it from like an objective perspective of the multiple different takes on it in one, just to kind of lay out all the cards.
You're the person that keeps us on track, and I'm the person that's like veers us all over the place.
So Mortal Kombat got a new update. Yeah, you know what I hate?
Freaking how Call of Duty. No, like, you're very methodical in how you approach something, and then I like take us off track with some very emotional rant, and then you're like, so yeah, back to what I was saying about the XP.
Yeah. So the XP, dude, when I was younger, NetherRealm touched me.
Yeah. Let me tell you, that soured me. It's very it's very funny how that works out. With this podcast, you get a little bit of the emotional side, and you get some of the methodical.
Like, I have my opinions on it. It's just I try to, because it is what it is.
Yeah.
I like what I say. It's not. They've been changing it in their own way, completely regardless of the community this whole time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't matter what like people complain about. They're gonna do whatever they want. Like, nobody asked for fixed rate XP. People just wanted the XP to be better. But now we're stuck with fixed rate XP.
Well, yeah, it's actually they're seeing what the community wants. They do the opposite of that.
Pretty much. They're like, wow, everybody loves season 2. I get season 2 needed to be adjusted, but season 2 with level-based XP, where if the enemies were dramatically higher level than you, you should get more XP for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, maybe not as much as season 2, but still more than what they did with season 3. And now season 4 with fixed rate XP. Once I fully flesh it out and I have all of what I need to make a call on whether I think it's worth it or not, I'll know. But
stay tuned.
I don't know. As of right now, the Mesa XP for the first run through is better than it's ever been. It's just I'm worried about once I run out of those to do.
Yeah.
Then what is it going to be like? How annoying is this? Because the seasonal tower also doesn't start at level 10 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I wish it did now. Before, like season 3, it didn't matter. I just wanted to get it to 45 for the pallets. But now I wish it did start at level 10, because if you would get fixed rate XP per level, it wouldn't matter if I'm instantly killing them.
That's purposely probably.
That's why they put it at level 30 now. It's because now it's not going to be fast to get to 30. It's going to take a while to get the pallets because they're level 30 already.
Can you imagine how much more time they'd have if they didn't try to fix the XP system every single season?
Yeah, they never. Yeah, that's like their main.
You imagine like how much more actual content for the players.
That was the other thing that I didn't even touch on. So, with this update as well, we're in the season of the Huntress for Melina, but everybody's like, well, why are the palettes nothing like Melina? It's all like, people call it the fruit roll-up color scheme, because it's like a yellow, green, this like really light shade of red.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, Melina's like purple, pink, black, maybe a little bit of brown.
Season of the roll-up.
And now we know why, because in the PC version of the game, the season's actually dubbed the Season of Chaos, which was originally, which is supposed to be for Havoc. And if you would look at Titan Havoc's color scheme in the like final cutscene, this is his color scheme. The skins that we're getting, it's the same color. Yeah, it's like that color scheme. And then people have like mohawks and scars. It's Havoc season. It's Havoc season that they dubbed the Season of the Huntress for Melina. So people are calling it like a bait and switch season, because it's like Melina's one of the one of the more popular Mortal Kombat characters. Mm-hmm. So now it's like all these Melina fans, they finally get a season dedicated to her, but they're getting skins for Havoc. So.
Who knows? Maybe the Havoc one, they'll have the Melina stuff.
That's what people are thinking, because it's like, what are they going to do for Havoc season? Then we already earned all of those skins.
They're just going to repeat it.
Yeah, but they might. Yeah. My guess is they didn't have all of the assets done for Melina season, but they probably had stuff for Havoc in the pipeline already earlier than they anticipated, so they just moved it to Melina season, which is going to be weird. It's like, yeah, it's going to be weird on Havoc season with everybody wearing purple and stuff like that.
Like, but more players will buy this. Maybe later on we'll be able to raise the prices again for the store items. And
I mean, I wouldn't buy color palette swaps. They also data mine.
You wouldn't. People who love Melina might.
Yeah, but I mean, like, none of the Melina doesn't actually have that many good palettes in this game. But they also found the St. Patrick's Day palettes, which are literally just color swaps, and they're like bright green and orange. So those are probably going to be in the shop. for
Great.
for some reason. Because they did that with the Halloween stuff too. It was just color swaps for green and purple.
To spend less time worrying about the character mastery XP and changing it every single season, and how you're going to work around players getting more XP and focus on the content that you're bringing to the players. Maybe you'll be able to keep them around. But yeah, there's our Mortal Kombat rant. We haven't actually had like a full-on Mortal Kombat rant for a couple episodes.
Yeah, there was no content until then.
Yeah, that's true.
And now the content that they did add is the wrong content.
Yeah,
they added Havoc stuff for Melina season.
Now you're all able to get your Mortal Kombat rant. So, I mean, other than really Final Fantasy VII, Helldivers, and like Mortal Kombat, there hasn't been a ton of news. I mean,
there's been a lot of layoffs going around.
That's what I was touching on earlier. Is like the whole layoffs thing is like.
I know Sony just had a bunch of layoffs that affected a lot of their main studios. It affected like Naughty Dog, Insomniac. They announced that some games that they were working on are canceled. They just didn't tell us which games.
Oh, Dragon's Dogma 2.
I don't think that's Sony exclusive, but
I think it is.
I thought it was coming to PC. But I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know.
Actually, let's see.
Because Dragon's Dogma is Capcom.
State of Play.
Yeah, but they do that. They just have games on State of Play to talk about.
That's true, yeah.
They're not exclusive.
Helldivers too.
Yeah. Because Dragon's Dogma is a Capcom game. So I highly doubt Capcom would do a full exclusivity deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Capcom to do exclusivity.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, yeah, and then tons of layoffs is kind of the other big one. Oh, also, I have started watching Avatar, The Last Airbender. I know that's something that I don't even think that you ever watched the anime.
I've seen a few of the episodes, but I've never. Basically, no.
Highly recommend that you watch it. It's such a good show, and like it's 3 seasons.
But dude, the M. Night Shyamalan
movie, time commitment, and like to cap it off with a phenomenal movie adaptation from
I saw that in theaters.
Twist, his name is Aang.
Yeah. I don't know why the cartoon named him Aang. It's always been Aang.
Yeah.
According to me.
Yeah. So, disregard that. No, the actual like show was fantastic. I believe it's 3 seasons. Like, it just tells an amazing story, and like the finale is so cinematic and so like worth it. Like the whole journey you go on, it just makes it worth it. Man.
You think Netflix one's gonna do that?
I hope so.
I honestly thought on Netflix they would have like Aang would have seemed to be the main character at first, but then like he would have transferred his powers to like Katara, and then like he would pass away. I mean, the casting that they do have it's pretty much almost like a 1-to-1 remake of the show I heard the show is like way more of like a serious tone than compared to the cartoon.
It is. Yeah, so I mean it is like they touch on like a lot of the main points in the show. They give like good fan service. They have like this there's like an ongoing character of a dude who has like a cabbage cart that constantly gets destroyed. They have him in it.
I think I actually remember that.
My cabbages, that guy. They have there's like the secret there's like this random minstrel band that plays this
minstrel band.
Yep. Minstrel. I think that's the word, minstrels. Like bards. Yeah. I don't know. They play a song Secret Tunnel. They recreate that in the show. Like there's a lot of things that they recreate from the animated show into the live action show, and it's done to me so well. Like both Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Avatar Last Airbender have given me such nostalgic rushes. It's insane, man. I've been having so much fun with both of them. Favorite character in the animated show had always been Iroh, which is like this. He's like the old. He's like the main bad guy who turns good guy. He's like his uncle. And he's just like the relationship between Zuko and Iroh was fantastic, and they're recreating that and giving kind of more backstory to Zuko, I believe, in this. It's been a while since I've watched the animated show, but like it's very good. The way that they've recreated it and has been very good, but more for an adult audience as well, with some darker themes. It's definitely worth it. Like I haven't finished season 1 yet, so who knows? I might completely change my mind.
180s right at the last second.
If it does anything like The Witcher did, season 2 will be terrible. No, season 3 will be terrible. I'm curious, like, how they'll go from this. I have to assume that they'll get a season 2. Like, I didn't have Netflix. I personally went back, got Netflix just to watch this show. And I had like my own ban on Netflix because of the whole like you can only
the password sharing.
Yeah, the one household limit thing. So stupid, but I guess everyone's doing that now, so might as well just have cable at this point. But no, tangent. No, Avatar is great. The casting, like I said, has been very, very good. Daniel Day Kim, Johnny Gat as Firelord Ozai, fantastic.
It's like a purple shirt.
Yeah.
Like pinstripe pants. He's got like the frost tip blonde.
Yeah,
He's just Johnny Gat.
Yeah. We're gonna fuck these guys up. It's like, whoa, way adult theme.
Funny.
Yo, Ish. No, fantastic casting on that part. It's just so good. Didn't realize how like ripped Daniel Day Kim is.
Johnny Gat.
Yeah, I know. I should have known from the animated form that they created him.
It's 1-to-1.
I would like to see a live action Saints Row.
That's never gonna happen.
With just Johnny Gat.
Yeah, the Johnny Gat story.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Again, tangent. Daniel Day Kim though, fantastic. The Zuko actor that they have.
What about the main character?
Great. Aang. I mean, they did well cast. I feel like it can't be that hard to cast Aang, but like,
well, dude, the kid needs to know kung fu. He needs to be an airbender.
That's true. A real life airbender, yeah. But yeah, I mean the casting choices that they actually made in the show, very, very good. I like to actually see that because in the movie, like, terrible. Like no, yeah. I mean,
yeah, I remember didn't that one guy, dude, your favorite movie, Twilight. Wasn't one of the guys from there in that as the brother of Katara?
Dude, I don't even know. I don't even remember.
Because like I think the movie had like a mostly white cast.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Asian
Is like
characters.
it was like very whitewashed, whereas this it feels like you get very much of like that kind of like ancient China vibes. It's very like you feel the Asian cultures in the show that I feel like you don't really
feel it deep in you.
Yeah, you feel Asian culture deep in you. I'm trying to be careful. So like well,
no, like the characters are just the ethnicity that they were in the show.
Yeah, well, that they should be like that. That's the vibes that you get from the show. Very like small hints of it, but it's very full on in the live action show, and I love it. Like it's awesome because I feel like there's not really a lot of shows where it's a fully Asian cast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's cool to see this kind of thing happen where they do get their own like platform where
it's cool
they're
to see them be
well.
accurate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I'm just, again, like I said, I hope they don't pull Witcher season 3, which I also haven't watched because again
there might not really be a reason to anymore.
I banned Netflix in my household.
I mean, like, I collect the Witcher stuff simply because I'm a Witcher fan, but yeah, season 3 was a letdown.
Yeah.
I'm not really season 4. I don't even know if they're gonna fully go through with season 4 yet.
With Liam.
I just like how they were like a lot of their advertisements for season 3 were like, yeah, Henry Cavill's still the Witcher, guys. You can watch it.
They have to advertise it that
it's
way.
It's like, what are you gonna do when season 4 is out? It's just like, oh fuck, just don't watch it.
New Witcher, new problems.
Yeah. It's like wearing like normal modern clothes.
Yeah. I've been time jumped into the.
They crow him. He's got like tattoos everywhere.
Yeah.
He's got like a mullet.
I guess we could discuss that. Too.
I mean, that's just like a basic thing. They just revealed the new Crow Reboot images, and like just glancing the images, it doesn't look like the character design is awful, but it's not fully indicative of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what the movie's gonna be like. Some of the things the showrunner said makes it sound like it has nothing to do with the Crow, but we'll have to see.
Apparently 19-year-olds are going to love it from what they said, right?
From if what they're going for pans out for them, the 19-year-olds will love it.
The Crow's no longer a rock star. He's a rapper.
Potentially.
Yo, I'm the Crow.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
No,
but I mean, so the one thing, like, yes, from what I saw, he looks like
they just went
the Florida Joker.
Yeah, they went the Leto Joker, Florida Joker route, where it's just like nobody really wants to look like this. Nobody thinks this looks cool.
Florida Joker does, apparently.
Yeah, it's just a weird design. I don't know why people think that like. I don't know why people like behind these decisions think it's a good idea. Because it's like first glance of Leto's Joker, majority of the audience, wow, this looks terrible. Then the Crow writers are like, well, what if we did it? Yeah. It's like it's still terrible.
Remember those kids you all hated in high school? Well, here you go. There's your hero.
Yeah, but like it's just weird because it's like the Crow. Like Eric Draven's character, he just doesn't seem like the type that would have like a forehead tattoo or anything like that. It's weird. It's weird.
See, the saving grace for me is the mullet for sure. No,
that's the other thing too.
It's like... yeah, he also has a mullet. I don't know, like I don't actually know what style they're going for. Is it like Alabama like white?
It's not. Well, it's not the style of the Crow that they're going for. That's all I do know.
I guess I shouldn't have brought Alabama into it. We just lost a huge part of the audience. But Alabama, widely criticized for loving their cousins. It seems like this Crow is going to be very white trash. Let's just say that.
Like I said, we have to see a trailer because like Bill Skarsgård usually does a good job in the roles he's playing. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what I was gonna say. Is Bill? It's Bill Skarsgård. So like, so he could just look really stupid but still do a good job.
Yeah, it could be a great role. And from what I was seeing, it's gonna be like a romance. I don't know. Like I'm not super familiar with the original Crow.
The Crow, the one that's the other worrying thing is like they did say they were gonna focus more on his relationship than before.
I thought the whole thing was like he got killed and it was like he's out for revenge for the people that killed him or something.
Well,
right?
It was him and his girlfriend that were murdered. But his like girlfriend was like raped and murdered in front of him, and then they killed him. And then he comes back to life to get revenge on the people who did it. But before, even in like the novel, like the graphic novel for it, you only really see their relationship briefly. It just sets it up. And then you only see like flashes of it throughout the story. And that's how the first movie did it too. They did it kind of like the novel did. But this time there's probably going to be like the first act of the movie is just all dedicated to their relationship before they die. Which
I mean,
we don't need that though, because we already know that they were in love and that they were wrongfully murdered in a brutal way. Like that's all you need for the setup. So it's like dedicating so much time to it could be also an issue.
I see. I don't know though. I think I might be of the opposite take on that. Again, like I said, I didn't see the
Crow is never a romance.
Yeah,
it was literally like a revenge story.
Yeah,
of like a hero, like of someone who wouldn't even seem like a hero, because the Crow doesn't look like a hero.
See, so I haven't seen
Because that's like
I haven't
making the
seen
Punisher
original.
into a love story.
I think I have seen the original, but like I don't really remember that much of the original. The thing is, like personally, it doesn't sound like. I don't think that it's going to be that big. It doesn't sound like it would be that big of a thing. I think that focusing more on the relationship could get the audience more attached to their relationship, and then doing them like that would like piss off the audience. Like the audience would be just as pissed as like the.
Well, that's the thing with the first movie. It still worked with less time.
Yeah.
It really depends how they execute it. Because it's something that doesn't need to be done because it's like the concept is already there. And from even if you see it briefly, you still get the full effect of it in the first movie. Mm-hmm. So it's like more time for something we already know is coming. It's like...
Yeah.
I get bringing in a new audience, but as I always say, it's like... The Crow isn't it's not a huge mainstream name.
Yeah.
Not many people know about the Crow.
Like a cult classic type of movie. Yeah.
So like the main audience they have, even if they want to draw in a new audience, which is fine, the main audience they have is going to be fans of the Crow. Mm-hmm. So if you please them, you already are off to a great start. And if you get new people from that, you're even off to a better start. But if you disregard them and you try to only bring in new people, but you don't get them, you lose everything.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened with Saints Row Reboot. Mm-hmm. They banked it on new people to come in for the Saints Row franchise without really focusing on their main audience that they already had, and then they just lost it all.
Yeah.
So it's again, they're doing like a high risk play here where they could just they could tank their own movie because they'll lose everything with it because they won't even get their main audience in.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing here that I don't like is just why they make the Crow look like that.
No, I know. That's the main issue I have. Is like he just looks so stupid.
Like the romance story,
that could be fine.
I can buy into that because of the fact that, like I said, I think that getting the audience more attached to the relationship just to break
just
it like
for an
that.
Example though, look at John Wick. You don't have much time with him and the dog, but the dog, you're pissed immediately.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone
like the same
can connect
thing
on that level.
But I'm just saying, like you can connect the dots quickly and still get the message across without focusing too much on it. It really is just going to depend how much they focus on it and how much it really matters.
Maybe they're trying to set up like a trilogy or something.
Well, Eric Draven's story is it's one night. He comes back for one night and then goes back into the grave. So they can't really do that. And the thing is, though, it's weird that they did Eric Draven instead of their own Crow. Because not every Crow is the same person. So they could have just had a new character. Yeah. But they chose Eric Draven because, again, they know their audience to pull them in.
I mean, he was...
But it depends.
He was also Asian, right?
Well, Brandon Lee was the person who played him.
He's Bruce Lee's son, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he passed away during the first movie.
Yeah.
There was I forgot if it was like a blank that killed him or something else. There's like a point blank shot that he takes in the movie, but like with the gun, they didn't have like the proper thing set up for it.
They keep that scene in?
They might have.
That's kind of fucked up.
I don't remember what they did with it, but I mean the movie is basically like what honors him at this point. Yeah. And then like the showrunners did mention that like this is like their way of honoring Brandon Lee, but nothing.
They don't use an Asian act. I mean,
well,
I'm not against Bill.
I don't think the Crow. I don't think the Crow. Eric Draven. I don't think he was Asian, but Brandon Lee. He's not full. Like he's mixed, isn't he?
I'm guessing if he's Bruce Lee's son, he's at least mixed.
Because Brandon Lee didn't really look like Bruce Lee all that much.
But I thought he was Bruce Lee's son.
He is. He's Bruce Lee's son. Yeah. He just. I mean, he doesn't really look like Bruce Lee that much.
So maybe they weren't casting like as an Asian.
No, I don't think they were thinking about that. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's like I said. I need to see a trailer. I need to see how that plays out. Yeah. It could be insane. Yeah. He just might, like I said, he just might look really stupid. Mm-hmm. I tried to give Jared Leto's Joker the benefit of the doubt, like maybe he just looks dumb, but then he actually started acting as the character, and I was like, no, this just sucks.
Which, yeah, there's also the thing. I was like, I said the same thing during Suicide Squad. I was like, but it can't be bad. It's Jared Leto.
No, I know. You and my brother kept reiterating. I was like, it's
Jared Leto. I was like, it can't be. It's Jared. Like he won awards. Like he won awards in everything.
Yeah.
Like this is a dude who won awards in music. He won awards in like he probably saved a whole continent at one point. He flew to the moon. Like this dude did everything. He's like 50 years old and he looks like he's 35. Like this guy was amazing going into this role. I was like, dude, it's Jared Leto. And then
I remember like
then we
saw the trailer too, and you guys were still like, well, that was only like 10 seconds of it. We don't know how his full performance is going to be. And I'm like, if I can't stand him for 10 seconds, how am I supposed to stand him for at least a minute?
Yeah.
Because then there's also the people who are like, well, he apparently had a lot more time on screen. That was all cut.
Got cut.
And people are like, maybe he did better in that cut. I'm like, it was terrible what we did get.
Yeah.
How could it be any better?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like his character, like the way he portrayed Joker fundamentally was just a problem.
Yeah.
It just wasn't good. So giving me more screen time with him will just make me hate it even more.
I mean, also talking about the flip side of that though, it could be similar to like how they did the new Joker. Like it's not your traditional telling of like a Joker story. You know what I mean?
It could be, yeah. Like I said, it could be a good movie. I don't know yet. All I'm saying is that he just looks stupid.
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying. It's
Little
like
Peep
the crow. Yeah, the crow just looks stupid.
Yeah. I mean that. Like technically, I guess the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie isn't really a Joker movie. Like you could have called it something else. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you called it Joker. You used the IP and related it to Gotham. It could have been any other movie. You know what I mean? But it was Joker. Is it the Joker? It's just a good movie. Joaquin Phoenix's performance is fantastic in it.
I'm less optimistic about the sequel.
I
feel like Lady Gaga could be a really good Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
But it's the musical aspect of it that it's like I'm not a musical guy.
You have Lady Gaga, you got to make music in it.
Yeah, pretty much everything she's been in, there's been like even American Horror Story. There's always like a musical number at some point.
There has to be.
I'm like trying to think. I'm like, well, she's been in other stuff. I'm like, but she sang in those too.
Again, yeah, I'm interested in it just because.
Yeah, but once they start breaking out into song, great. I'm personally pulled out of it.
I'm the Joker and your Harley Quinn is just.
I've never even heard
terrible.
Joaquin Phoenix sing. Is he singing something?
Yeah, dude. Walk the Line.
I never seen
Walk Hard. The Dewey Cox story.
I've never seen that.
He plays Johnny Cash. Yeah. Great.
Okay. I forgot he was even in that.
Yeah.
I only remember the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah. He needs more blankets and he needs less blankets. No, he did very good. I could be mistaken. And then Pam from The Office was also in it. I had thought that he won awards for that. That's such a good movie.
Well, there we go.
Academy Award for Best Actress. Yeah, Reese Witherspoon was.
All you do.
Huh?
It's gonna be a 10 out of 10 then.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, Reese Witherspoon won a lot of awards. Yeah. Joaquin Phoenix, Golden Globe Award for Best Actor. Yeah. This won a bunch of shit. So. It's a great movie. But yeah, I think we covered is
circling back though, just back to the layoffs thing. We're not gonna. I mean, there's obviously been
the Crow.
No, we're done with the Crow. We've talked enough about the Crow. But for the layoffs thing, the other thing with that too is because Embracer's been having problems for a while. They've been doing layoffs constantly too. But interestingly, Saber Interactive, which was under Embracer this whole time, they were behind the Evil Dead the game, and they were also the ones who were working on the Knights of the Old Republic remake that was apparently canceled, but then not canceled.
Mm-hmm.
But now they apparently made a $500 million deal to split from Embracer and become independent.
That is so interesting. Like, we did talk about this briefly before the podcast, and I'm still super curious of how that works. Like, do you get investors?
Maybe my guess is like it's like their worth of like profits they've brought in from their projects that maybe is paying for it. like that's how much money they may have made Embracer, and like they're keeping $500 million as a cut of their own profits.
Because not like
they're splitting. I don't know.
Like they're not selling it to a new company.
No,
they're just breaking off, and somehow Embracer is getting money. Is it like the
well?
CEO
I mean,
of
it
Saber
makes sense that
Interactive?
Embracer would go for it because Embracer needs money right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, if they're making money, I just don't understand.
yeah, I don't know how it really works either. It could be an investor thing.
Yeah,
because I know
they
IO
secure
Interactive
outside-
did the same thing with Square Enix.
Could
They
you
split.
like? How does this even get brought up? Are they like, hey, does anyone want to buy themselves out of Embracer Group? Or like,
my guess was like maybe they were being threatened with closure because Embracer's been shutting down studios and laying people off. Maybe they wanted to split because they wanted to keep they wanted to keep their team and everything like that together.
I mean, if that is the case, whoever brought that idea to Embracer and they like literally saved their team is a fucking saint.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and
Like-
out of it, but there's a lot of potentials as to how it happened, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, that however that worked out, like that, if they save them from being like closed down entirely to like save costs, they're like a saint. Especially if they had to go out and get outside investors. I don't understand how it works. How does this even get brought up? Is it like they went and secured these out? If this is the case, like they went and secured outside investors, then like, hey, we have a proposition for you. How about we stop working for you and here's a bunch of money? It's like, yeah, I mean, that's, to me, like, that's crazy. I'd love to understand the ins and outs of how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just one of the more recent things. I don't know what that means for the Knights of the Old Republic remake, because I know Embracer was the one that...
I'm thinking more like business side. You're thinking about the game.
Well, because that's the only thing I can think of that they're working on. Because if they're moving fully independent, I don't know what they're bringing to the table. Because they already stopped working on Evil Dead.
Evil Dead the game too.
No, they're not gonna touch that again. With license like
Saber
that,
Interactive was in a lot of different.
they are.
things.
But the main thing they were working on next was the Knights of the Old Republic remake. So I don't know if they are still working on that. Maybe Embracer's just a publisher for it now. They still are making it. I have no idea. But another studio too. I actually didn't know this. I thought Remedy had already owned the exclusive rights to Control, but apparently 505 Games did. But recently Remedy did reacquire the full rights to Control. So Remedy can just do whatever they want with their game now.
That's interesting, yeah, because I also didn't know that, and I had seen that come across my news feed as well earlier this week. I was like, oh damn. I was like, I thought that they owned that. Could you imagine if they acquired Quantum Break then too?
I'm sure they're trying to. I mean, Microsoft's not going to do anything with Quantum.
Yeah,
Break,
I know.
So I don't know why they might have already. I don't know, because they already renamed characters from Quantum Break, so they might just have given up on that. But it would be even more insane if they got the rights to Max Payne back. Rockstar's never going to let that go, though. But.
Okay, so I pulled up a couple. I pulled up the games that Saber Interactive is apparently in charge of, but it's a developer and publisher. So I guess that does kind of make sense that they would have the ability to break off like that. But Space Marine 2, set to release September 9th.
Is that a Warhammer game?
Yeah, which is...
That might be a big one.
Interesting. Publisher's Focus.
Jurassic Park Survival. Is that the CG one that they revealed? Where the main character looks like Dina from Last of Us Part 2?
There.
Yeah, I think that is the game.
So
that could be a big one.
There's
for
that.
them. So they are working on a lot of stuff.
So I don't know if I actually saw this.
It was like a CG trailer.
Is this like a actual survival game?
It looks kind of, from the CG trailer, which doesn't give us too much. It kind of looks like Alien Isolation, but in Jurassic Park.
Ooh,
so
that would actually be
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando.
Oh yeah, I remember that they did announce a game for that. That's going to be interesting to see. I forgot if they actually showed a trailer for it or what. I don't remember.
So yeah, there's that. Seems like a lot of this is being also published by Focus. Expeditions, a Mudrunner game, A Quiet Place, the game, which that to me like that sounds kind of interesting.
You just can't move, make a noise.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. Like
maybe it's gonna be asymmetrical.
Oh my god, dude! Like, how many times we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Yeah. SpongeBob.
So yeah, they're working on quite a bit then.
Yeah, I mean they have. I mean, if this is all their own IP
wait. Knights of the Old Republic remake, is that actually Saber? I thought that was Aspire. Maybe. Oh, I think it was Aspire, and then Saber might have taken over. I think they switched development teams. I think that's why I'm confusing it.
I mean, even so, like, again, they are a publisher and a developer, so they could still be, like, the IP could still technically, I guess, be under, like, Embracer, but they could just be developing it for them.
Yeah, so it's curious to see how that's gonna go. The 505 games for Remedy thing owning Control's great because that's Remedy's game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad 505 games allowed them to get the full rights back. It would be cool if they got the full rights back to both Max Payne and Quantum Break as well.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum Break, I feel like would be a possibility. I don't know why Microsoft would really want to keep it.
Yeah.
But Max Payne, Rockstar's never letting that go, even if they have no plans for it. That's never going to happen.
Control is definitely interesting still. So clearly they have a story in mind or plans in mind.
Their Control 2 was announced to be in development of a while, like at least maybe 2 years ago.
Was Remedy developing it?
Yeah. So I wonder if they had another partnership with 505, but then they just instead acquired full rights. Because Remedy, I think, technically, they're just like fully independent now.
Huh.
I think Remedy's trying to do that too, where they're their own developer and publisher.
I mean, I wish that a lot more companies would do that so that actually, they have complete creative control over it.
They did not publish. The Epic published Alan Wake 2. Oh, so yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but
maybe they're just
using publishing because their games clearly have a higher budget, so they probably use Epic for publishing because of the money that they can get from them.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, they back to Saber Interactive, they do have World War Z too, which is like I think that they're still making content for that game. I don't know if anyone's playing the game anymore, but yeah, I mean they're the Evil Dead game is that's ending.
They had stopped support on it
just
already.
Stopped completely.
The Game of the Year update that it had, even though they didn't announce that to be the last patch at the time, that was the last.
Someone gave it a Game of the Year.
They did.
I was gonna say what?
They did the Ubisoft Far Cry 6 thing. They're like, well, it was personally our game.
Yeah, of course.
Which is enough. But yeah. And then the only other news story I really have, aside from the company acquired stuff and layoffs, is Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster. So I knew about this for a couple of days now, but I didn't really know what was going on with it. But the Epic version was on a different build than all the other platforms, which was weird because the Epic version had more lighting added to certain areas, more shadows being casted in certain areas. It had more bug fixes. It had more poses in photo mode. So like I mentioned this in my playthrough of the first one, but there's 357 pickups in the game total, but you can only get 356 because there's one Uzi clip that you pick up that's supposed to give you 3, but in this current build of the game it only gives you 2. But in the Epic version it gives you all 3. So it was like a better version of the game technically. It was more fleshed out and feature rich compared to the launch version that everybody else got. And they finally made a statement on it. Apparently, the Epic version was on an experimental patch build, and all the other versions were on the official build. So the better version of the game is actually the wrong version of it.
Yeah.
So they actually patched it to match the other platforms now.
Oh, so they made it shittier.
Technically. Because apparently the Epic version of the game is an experimental patch that's coming out later. That's not actually fully done yet. When they, because like if you go to Steam database, you can see patch builds being worked on.
Yeah.
So my guess is that they upload patch builds to Epic as well, and Epic accidentally released an experimental patch division build or something like that. So you actually could copy the files and paste them onto the Steam version, and it would still work. You would just have all the updates. So if you kept those files. If you had both, if you bought both.
Well, I don't
but
know.
If you had those files, you could still technically overwrite the Steam version with the newer updated features if you wanted to.
It's essentially just modding.
Yeah, or you can just wait until Aspire officially releases the patch that's fully complete.
Yeah.
I know why they would get rid of an experimental build, but it seemed like it worked fine.
Yeah.
It just had more features. So that's a little bit of a weird story.
Yeah, I know. Before you had brought up the layoffs, I kind of was looking into it a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, earlier this week, apparently there was like 900 layoffs at Sony.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Like, it affected Naughty Dog. It affected like all of their main studios, and they canceled some unannounced games as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that sucks. I mean, like the entire gaming industry has been going through this, and I'm curious as to like why. Is it like people aren't buying games anymore?
Well, Microsoft's layoffs, a lot of their more recent ones were like their physical media division, because they seem to be steering away from physical media, which kind of sucks. But
was it like Sony's like,
yeah, I don't know.
Madam Web didn't do good. See you later, gaming division.
It is weird. I don't really fully get the ins and outs of the layoffs, because usually the companies that they'll release something that's a huge hit and they'll make a ton of money from it, and then the next week they'll be announcing layoffs.
Yeah.
Like, and then a company that's not doing well will also announce layoffs. That's like, okay, so they're announcing layoffs regardless of if they're doing well or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming off of literally it just winning DICE Awards for Spider-Man and Horizon.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Yeah, I don't know.
Enough.
Yeah, I mean,
some of
it's
the
not
naughty...
enough for them putting out Madam Web.
Yes.
Is it coincidence that they put out Madam Web and it bombs, and then they have to do all these layoffs?
Because like Microsoft, their Xbox division for gaming is pretty separate from like everything else they have. I don't know how Sony is with that, like Sony Gaming compared to like Sony Pictures.
Sony Entertainment.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it is weird. Some of the layoffs with Naughty Dog could be some of the team members working on the standalone PvP for 2.
Mm-hmm.
They might have laid off some of them because they didn't have anywhere to put them. Either way, it sucks for the people involved.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm sure they have the means to still have these people on jobs. Because I mean, their CEOs make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe just don't pay them the millions that they earn and keep some of the employees on. Pay them a little less.
That's what I was saying. That's why I was giving props to Saber Interactive. Like,
yeah, but we don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This is all speculation because I don't even know. I still don't even understand the ins and outs of how
I don't know.
Something like that occurs. But if it was from, because someone obviously has to be in charge of Saber Interactive. So if they were the ones to like bring this up and potentially save Saber Interactive from being closed down, like that's pretty big.
Watch though, they'll go independent and then they'll announce layoffs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he just wanted more money for himself.
Yeah. He had a deal where he got cut. Yeah, they got a cut of the $500 million for splitting off, and they just tanked the company.
Opposite of the same. Yeah. Just a huge ass.
You never know nowadays.
That's true. I mean, yeah, anything could happen. But yeah, I mean, it's been happening across for like the past year, even longer.
I mean, that's how 2024 started with like a bunch of layoffs.
Yeah.
In the gaming industry.
Yeah,
mainly from Microsoft at first, but
I technically work. Well, I guess we both technically work in the gaming industry doing this. More so journalism, but like I worked in the gaming industry. So yeah, I mean it's rough right now.
Right. Expendable.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why it's like this. I mean, I feel like as an entertainment form, this has obviously become bigger than like movies and stuff.
Yeah, the gaming industry makes a lot more money than movies do at this point.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. It's weird to me. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably the higher ups, they want bigger paychecks.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's mostly of what I had. Can't think of anything else.
Yeah, there's not too much else. I mean, there was the Willy Wonka experience.
Oh, yeah. That's more of just funny than anything else. I just like the memes for it.
I don't even know too much.
You didn't even know about the unknown until I showed you.
No, I didn't. All I had seen was that, like, I saw it was like a streamer that I'm friends with on Kick. He was going through it. I hadn't seen anything about it before, but he's like, "Yeah, look at this." It was like in a random warehouse. There's just like a random printout of like I don't know, like a candy place.
The funny thing about it to start
taped
is
on a brick wall.
The advertisements for it was all AI generated, and if you would read the advertisements for it, it's all misspelled. Like the words were AI generated.
Oh my god.
So it's like I don't even know what parent like saw that and were like, I'm gonna take my kids there, because it was clearly just like some really janky, rushed, shitty like thing.
It was just a complete ripoff. Like I heard that the kids got like a half of like a Dixie cup of like lemonade
and one jelly bean.
Welcome to Willy Wonka's.
Yeah.
And the picture that I saw, it's just like a warehouse floor, like terrible fluorescent lighting, and it's just like one random, like it looked like a Christmas like candy cane.
Yeah.
Like
well, like, and the sections were like divided with like beach towels.
Oh, I feel so bad for those kids, but that is so funny.
The good thing is the parents got refunds for the tickets that they bought, but it's just funny. Yeah, I mean the unknown, with the original clip of the unknown, when he pops out, all you hear is the kids just screaming in terror and crying.
Dude.
So it's
just like Willy Wonka.
The parents who took their kids there also just scarred their kids.
And then the Oompa Loompas that are like full grown
the
Oompa
people that look like meth lab.
It looks like they're making meth.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, people made a meme of the one picture of the girl because she looked so depressed.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you?
Well, there's another image where like there's another one and they're both smiling.
Oh.
So I don't know. Maybe she was just depressed because she was by herself and she had to put up with all the shit. But there was like one guy, I don't know if he was apparently the actor for Willy Wonka. He was the one that was talking about like the half lemonade and the one jelly bean originally. Like that's where that came from. And he was saying that like he had like 15 pages of lines. But he was like strictly told that that's what they would feed the kids. Like if they'd ask for food, like a snack, that's what he'd have to give them. Like, well, the lemonade and the one jelly bean. It's just funny because it's Willy Wonka in like the chocolate factory, and their snack is a jelly bean.
Yeah,
it's not
lemonade.
even like chocolate.
And lemonade.
Yeah. So it's just like I forgot what the pamphlet said for like the initial advertisement, but just reading it, it was like, wow. Like who would read this? You'd have to find the main picture, but it was fun. It was funny. I don't even know how that happened. And it's just funny because the person who organized the whole thing, when the parents demanded refunds, he was like, I don't really understand why people were disappointed. It's like, what do you mean?
And this thing that I clicked on, it was a BBC news article. It's like, how did the viral Willy Wonka experience go so wrong? It's like, what do you mean, how did it go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
How did anyone think it was? How did anyone think it was gonna be right? Yeah, it's just like oh man. Yeah, there's like a random archway of like a clearly just terrible like rainbow.
Yeah.
It's just brick floor with like yellow caution tape on the floor. Apparently the police were called.
Yeah, well, that's how they got the refunds. They got the police
People
involved.
called the police. There's like the half And yeah, the picture that they show.
But every picture for it was AI generated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how people would look at that and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to that."
Yeah, there's the unknown.
You know what I mean?
Which is funny because the unknown was their own original character.
Yeah, it was not even from like anything.
They just made him up.
Oh man, yeah. It's I'm currently looking for the ad to see like what it originally said. But yeah, I mean, when he was going through this, I was laughing. It's like a double feelings of emotion. It's like I feel so sad for the kids that went through this because like that's terrible. But then it's so funny just to actually see like, could you imagine being a parent going up, like showing up there with your kid and being like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I mean, to be fair, all the warning signs were there.
I mean, this was in the UK. This was not in the US.
No, yeah. It was like Glasgow or something like that. Yeah, I don't know why no one has a picture of it for like the initial ad. But that it was, I think they might have pulled it at some point because of the misspelling, but yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
Guy in a tie. Like it has like a guy on the front of it.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I just thought I'd bring that up because it's just hilarious. And I guess it's somewhat pop culture.
Yeah.
Deals with Willy Wonka. Yeah, it was, that was
Click on the Reddit one.
That was just funny.
No, it's just... Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much. Typically we go over the upcoming game releases as well, like as a segment. I
mean, the one that came out this week besides Rebirth, that Dark Forces remaster came out as well.
Are you gonna be playing that?
Maybe. I don't know when though. Because I might save that for like if I go through like the whole entire Jedi Knight series.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now I've got Tomb Raider stuff to focus on.
Yeah, and Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that was actually one thing I can touch on really quick. Because they've been doing surprisingly, the Suicide Squad devs, Rocksteady, they've been really transparent about everything with the game. They do weekly updates, like even community like blog posts for it. They said that they're skipping this week's update to prepare for the Season 1 Joker update. So that's going to be coming soon this month. There's no exact release date, though. Oh. That's just like a brief touch on that.
Oh, speaking of Saber Interactive, Expeditions, the Mud Runner game. It's coming...
That's technically a simulator game.
Next week, yeah, driving simulator. Apparently.
Well, I mean, on top of Tomb Raider, March 14th, though. Got that Battlefront HD collection.
Battlefront Classic Collection. Which there was some stuff on that as well.
Oh, yeah, we can touch on that really quick.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Aspyr actually officially came out with a statement, though, as well, but... So, they're adding Asajj Ventress and Kit Fisto into this one.
Kit Fisto?
Yeah. But a modder had ported them over to the PC version originally, and the base version of his mod looks identical to Aspyr's launch trailer for the collection, like the way the animations are and stuff like that, because they're not using Asajj Ventress's actual animations. But the modder who made the mod eventually recreated, like they got the animations and finally fully patched it to where they work the way they were intended to work. So the controversy was that Aspyr used this modder's base version of the mod that wasn't finished to bring back those two characters to this version. But in the character descriptions that Aspyr put out, it stated that they did have their unique abilities, even though it wasn't present in their trailer. So Aspyr made an official statement pretty much like yesterday or something like that, saying that the trailer that they showed wasn't the final version of the game. It might not even have been the game that they're re-releasing, because like the game's 50 gigabytes in size as well, because we're assuming they have 4K upscale textures.
Yeah, so we had talked about like off.
Yeah, but the trailer doesn't also indicate that it has that resolution bump in terms of the texture quality. So it's Aspyr made it sound like their launch trailer or their reveal trailer isn't actually the final build, and that's just what they scrounged together at one point for the trailer. But they did state that the characters will play how they were intended to play back then, which is like the final version of the person's mod. The person who made the mod didn't come out attacking them. They just stated that if they did use the mod, that he would prefer they use the final version of his mod because it's fully done rather than what it looked like in the trailer.
Yeah.
Because the mod author even said that they don't own any of the assets that they use. That all belong to the original game. So he's not trying to make a big thing of it. He was just saying that according to the trailer, it didn't look like the final version that they should be using, because the final version had all of the animations restored and everything. Which Aspyr clarified that they didn't use any of the modders' coding. Granted, if they were just using the same assets that the modders did, they would just have to do the same work that the modder did anyways. So some people are making it out to be a bigger news story than it actually is.
Yeah.
Basically, the assets that already existed are being used in both cases.
Yeah.
The modder used assets that Aspyr has to use too.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Because they're not fully new characters. It's not like they're just recreated from the ground up. They existed in a certain version of the game that are just being brought back to every version of the game, technically, for all platforms.
I am, again, they have me because, as we've established, nostalgia fiend.
Well, like I said, we're both probably going to be playing that game.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll probably be doing stuff for it too, just like on and off. I don't know if I'm going to do pre-recorded videos just because of the way the game's set up. I might just do like Galactic Conquest live streams and the other one.
Yeah, I mean, we could just do combined live streams.
Yeah, technically.
Both be streaming. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Like, we've established I am a nostalgia fiend, so just keep giving me.
Well, when we stopped our last podcast, we played Battlefront.
Yeah, literally. Like, us just talking about it got us just so pumped for it that we whipped out the old Xbox 360 and. Right?
Yeah, because the original PC version doesn't have split screen.
Yeah.
So we had to play because I have the original Xbox version for that stuff still. So we played it on 360 because it's backwards compatible. I mean, we could have played it on the original Xbox. We probably would have been able to choose our buffs.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a problem with the 360 backwards compatibility.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the one thing is we were playing Battlefront 2 and we weren't able to get like any of the heroes.
Yeah, it wouldn't let us. The UI would disappear too fast.
Yeah. So I think that's like the major ones. I mean, you got some games like MLB The Show coming out.
I mean, we've already mentioned Dragon's 19th. Dogma and Rise of the Ronin multiple times for March 22nd.
Yeah, so the 18th through the 24th that week, there's a ton. There's Hi-Fi Rush coming to PS5.
Yeah.
Alone in the Dark 2024 reboot.
Yeah, which I know that had a delay. I guess March 20th is the new release date from the delay. I didn't actually know it was as soon as it was.
I honestly didn't even know that they were making one until like literally just today. But they had made like Alone in the Dark, like the old ones, right?
Yeah, it's an old franchise. But I mean that's David Harbour and what's her name? The actress's name. I think she's in Free Guy. And damn, I don't remember her name. But they're both the characters in Alone in the Dark. David Harbour is Hellboy and Harper on Stranger Things.
And
the dude from Black Widow,
whatever,
Red Guardian, is that his name?
Yeah, something like that. Fat Captain America.
Yeah. So that's I'm curious to see how that goes.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. They're just voice acting, or are they?
No, they're like the characters in the game too.
Did they make him skinny?
I don't know. I mean, he's just a bigger guy.
And then 22nd, Dragon's Dogma 2,
and Rise of the Ronin.
Yes, and Rise of the Ronin as well. So I don't know at this point if I'm going to be getting either one of those. If anything, I'm probably leaning more towards Dragon's Dogma, but similar, like, you've never played Dragon's Dogma at all.
No.
I never beat the first one.
The demo for like 5 minutes.
So, I mean, I would probably end up, if anything, picking up the second one.
If I get the second one, we'd be doing a playthrough of the first one before it.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to skip it for now. I don't know what I'm doing with Rise of the Ronin yet.
Which also looks incredible. Dude, like, I know that last year they said that it was, like, the best year in gaming. I honestly, from, like, what I've seen so far, I think that this year is going to beat next year. Or, like, last year. Like, there's been
it's going to depend on the second half.
It's February, and, like, we have Helldivers, we have Final Fantasy. Like, what else has come out? No. Like, we're gonna be getting Dragon's Dogma and Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah, but I mean,
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean we don't know if they're gonna be good.
That's true. But like the cinematics and from what I've seen, like what we have seen, we're hopeful. You know what I mean? I don't know if we were as hopeful this point last year. Like we had Hogwarts, I guess.
Well, I mean there was also Resident Evil 4 remake, Spider-Man 2.
That's true. Yeah, I mean.
But the thing with 2023, the reason why it was such a heavy year for gaming, because it also had some of the worst games. It had Day Before, Gollum, Kong. So the reason why 2023 was like that, though, is because a lot of the games that were delayed because of like COVID and stuff like that all got pushed into 2023.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was supposed to come out earlier, but didn't.
Yeah.
2024 is the 2024 release year is going to be like games that are meant to come out this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see have to see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. So far, like there's been a lot of like stuff to be played. So.
And most of it for me is games that came out 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then Battlefront. We're getting the remaster.
I'm like,
I
don't know if they like, cause like my mood is always pretty. Cause even it was funny, cause Eric, when he was in the stream yesterday, he was like, yeah, when that T-Rex popped out in Tomb Raider 2, you didn't seem to really have that big of a reaction. It's like, well, that's just cause I usually don't have a big reaction.
Because he's that's because he's a clone. We're still teaching Moist Clone 734 emotions, guys.
But yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't come off, but I actually am like super excited for the HD classic battle.
Yeah,
I own the PC versions, so I know there's like, oh, but you can already mod it. But just for the modern support of it, proper controller support, it sounds like the PC version is getting split screen this time around, because it's like back then a lot of games didn't do split screen because you would double the process load to produce the second image. It's one of the reasons why a lot of modern games still don't do split screen, even on console. But now the game's so old, any computer can handle 2 images of Battlefront 2 and 1. So they should be bringing that back. There's no official word on cross-play. They did confirm it has cross-gen. So like PS4 can play with PS5 and 1 can play with Series. So, but there's no word on cross-play.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super pumped for that. And that was like a late drop. They're like, hey, guess what? Remember your childhood? Here you go.
It's like not even a month before it comes out. It's like a little less than a month. But like the thing is, I'm excited to do Achievement Hunt because Aspire goes ham on the achievements. So I can just see what they have in store for that. But that game's probably gonna have like 500 achievements. Tomb Raider
online.
Tomb Raider 1 through 3 has 269 achievements.
Jesus.
And Battlefront 1 and 2 are pretty big games. Yeah, in a 64 player lobby, don't die once.
Yeah, oh my god.
That'd be ridiculous.
And then from March 25th to the 31st, we have so I'm just talking about games that like I know I'm aware of. There's probably games that other people are very excited for that I'm just not like we're just not ingrained in those communities. But from what I'm seeing, like we have South Park Snow Day, which is I think this is technically the trilogy now.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
Fractured But Whole.
Yeah.
And then
'cause I've never played those.
I played.
I've never even been
The
like a
first
big
one.
South Park guy, but
I was, but yeah, that pretty much goes through all of March then. So
for major.
yeah,
releases.
major ones. Unless like if I'm missing something, obviously, if you guys are watching on YouTube, let us know in the
I mean,
comments.
I don't know if we mentioned it, but there's the Horizon Forbidden West. It's coming to PC on March 21st, I think. I forgot. Might not be on every list because it was kind of like a later announcement, but that's finally coming to PC in March.
There we go.
I never finished playing the first one, Zero
Nope.
Dawn.
Me neither.
So I'm not going to be getting Forbidden West on PC yet. Maybe it's a franchise I'll check out in the future. But
I know there's a bunch of people that loved like that game.
it's weird. From Forbidden West, it seems like it split the community a little bit for some
Really?
reason. Like some people were saying that they didn't like the changes to certain characters and the way the story went. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
didn't really
I
look too much
couldn't-
into it.
Yeah, I couldn't talk too much on that. It's like it is again one of those open world games where maybe it was just like a fatigue at that point where I just
Yeah.
wasn't feeling it or something. And I think like I've never been a really big like, hey, robots as enemies
What do you mean,
kind
dude?
of guy.
You loved fighting the aimbots on Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Sure. But yeah, so I mean that could have also played a role in it too. But yeah, so I think that pretty much covers at least majority of the upcoming releases for March. Again, if we did miss anything, you guys are watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments. We're not ingrained in like every gaming community because I think at this point in life it's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always usually just focused on specific things in
Yeah.
my own little space.
Yeah. I think that pretty much covers everything then, right?
Yeah. Might be
Awesome.
some other things that I just forgot about. But
Yeah.
That's most of it.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. And I'm Slice by Gaming, aka Ryan, here with my co-host, FLCLAFI, aka Nick, and we're Joystick Jabber. We will see you guys next time.